Hi there guys, and welcome to another edition of Wolfi's Tour Catch Up with myself Josh and my colleague G.
Hi sports fans.
So there's been a lot of action over the past few days, and so let's start off with Friday's stage that finished in Bordeaux, which saw Jasper Philipsen take another win. In my eyes, G, I think he was a bit of a lucky boy not to get relegated for that big deviation into Gamay in the sprint.
Yeah.
What did you think of that stage?
It was a good stage. It was always on for the sprinters.
Yeah.
That last few K could have been a bit dangerous, but seeing Cav in his old glory, like actually putting a bike length into his rivals before his mechanical issues caused him to slip back.
Yeah.
It was a finish that suited Biniam Gamay, and it was good to see him up there as well.
Yeah. And so you mentioned Cav, obviously, moving on to the next stage, that finish in Limoges. Very sad to see Cav obviously crash out of the Tour with a broken collarbone.
Yes.
What do you think of that then, Jay?
Again, it was a stage where all the focus was on a quite technical finish, but all the excitement that happened before that. The finish itself was quite safe. It's really disappointing to see Cav get so close the day before and then have to bow out
the next day. Yeah.
But I mean, looking at him in the medic's bus, he looked angry. He didn't look upset. I think he's going to come back for revenge. What's your thoughts?
Oh, well, look, he's got that Giro stage win, and that was a spectacular win. And look, and he was up there in Bordeaux. If it weren't for the mechanical issue, I fully would have expected him to win that stage, because the rate of knots in which he came up on Philipsen and the others in Bordeaux, shows that he still has it in the tank. And look, obviously it depends on salary expectations and contract lengths, but I don't think this will be necessarily the last that we see of Cav. He does have a young family and everything like that, and he is, far closer to the end than the beginning.
Yep.
So
what's one more year?
Exactly. Can he get himself up for it? I think so. I don't think you can ever doubt Cav.
No, he's determined, isn't he? He wants it.
Exactly. So we saw, another sprinter come to the fore, if you will, someone who usually wins from reduced breaks, who was maybe one of the favourites for the stage, Mads Pedersen. What did you think of that finish from him?
I mean, the finish was not a sprinter's finish. It was, you could see the ripples in the road on the run in. It was up and down. And he launched his sprint, I think, just around 300 metres to go, which for a sprinter is a phenomenal distance to go with that power output.
Yeah, it really is.
He saw off Mathieu van der Poel's lead out and Philipsen's sprint.
Yeah, and Wout van Aert as well.
And I mean, he's proving to Philipsen that not only can he sprint longer, but he can sprint in a straight line as well.
Well, Philipsen did get to second, and he looks very secure in that green jersey. So but and then obviously all the excitement, finishing on a climb that the Tour hasn't been on for the past 35 years, the Puy de Dôme.
Yep.
Summit finish, and it was another fantastic spectacle. Michael Woods taking his first Tour stage win, proving that there's life in old dogs, and then just pipping Jorgensen for the win.
Taking it off him in the last few hundred metres.
And then Moritz came past to even take second.
Yeah.
So heartbreak hotel, unfortunately for Jorgensen. What did you think of that stage, Sanju?
I think the breakaway was a formidable breakaway. It got established early, and Woods was definitely not. He was obviously the favourite, but he burnt out his teammate, or his teammate burnt himself out quite early on, and he was left on his own when maybe he should have had support. He was outnumbered by Movistar.
Yes.
Movistar tried to capitalise on that numerical advantage, but Woods was just too good.
Yes, he was.
That terrain suits his skills.
And then behind all the excitement at the front and the battle, the breakaway for the stage win and glory was a GC battle. What are your thoughts on that?
That was riveting. That was so exciting to watch.
Yeah.
That group hitting the final climb, Pogačar, Vingegaard, both the Yates brothers, Pidcock, and Carlos.
Yeah.
That's a strong group.
Yeah.
And they didn't pull punches. They were knocking the hell out of each other at that final climb.
Yeah.
The team set them up well, and they just that was punchy. Seeing Pogačar just not necessarily put time into, but just a psychological victory over Vingegaard, I think, for the second day.
Yeah, and then a little bit of time, so now that time gap previously would have been, a 30-40 seconds is now less than 20 seconds. So, it's made the GC battle a lot more exciting and enticing.
Yeah.
With his constant chipping away, shall we say.
Yeah.
Vingegaard hasn't cracked yet, and he's still in the yellow jersey, still winning overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, after some breathless action over over a week of day-to-day battles and action, they finally had a rest day yesterday, so that we could all catch our breath, and then back into today's stage, which is full of climbing. There's like 4 third cats and a second cat climb. The last climb finishes, tops out, is a third cat climb, tops out with about 30k to go. It's a 167, traditional tour stage in a lot of ways. What do you reckon is going to be happening today then, Jay?
With a profile like that, we're going to see Paulus in the break again.
Yep.
There's points on offer for the polka dot jersey.
Yeah, which he's still in as well, and wants to secure before the Alps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
You'll see some other pure climbers go up the road. That kind of sawtooth profile with no real flats in between the climbs is it's going to suit a younger rider.
Yes.
Somebody punchier, maybe not Woods this time, but possibly someone like Pidcock.
Yeah. Well, I think and who I'm betting for today's win is Fred Wright, someone like that.
Yeah.
To get in the break, plenty far back, not a danger on GC. And it's not one for necessarily for complete climbers. It's not a summit finish, so I can definitely see someone like that getting in the break and getting the win.
Yeah. I think you're going to see some tired legs as well. That rest days are a little bit of a double-edged sword. You do get the rest, but also some riders come out of the rest day with heavy legs, not feeling so good. So I think the older riders, again like Woods, maybe that rest day isn't helping them at this point. And the younger riders that are more up and ready for it are going to get the pull on the bunch. So
cool.
Yeah, Fred Wright's a good shout.
Yeah. So you think a breakaway is going to stay all the way to the end?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. And then moving on to the GC battle, we've seen Tadej and UAE Team Emirates wherever they could try to attack, and to a large degree Jumbo as well.
Yeah.
Do you think with today's profile, with it only being a third cat climb, topping out as said at 30k from the finish, do you think there's going to be any attacks on that, or do you think that they're going to treat it as a transitional day, these GC teams?
I'd hate to call it, because there have been transitional days in previous tour stages that looked quite typically like easy days for the GC and the chance for the breakaway, and then it's been ripped apart. There was a breakaway featuring G, Tadej and Vingegaard, I think, in last year's tour that just...
Yeah.
It looked like a transition day, and then it just became a GC battle from very early on.
Yeah.
I think whoever's got numbers over that second cat climb.
Yeah, but about halfway through the stage.
Halfway through, yeah. It's going to neutralise any attacks on the final climb, because of having a team behind you to pull back in the last 30k of downhill. If Pogačar goes and Vingegaard has got Kuss with him, then Pogačar's going to get brought back. Likewise, if Vingegaard goes and Pogačar's got Yates with him, Vingegaard's going to get pulled back. It's having that numerical advantage really counts on that long descent into the finish. Yeah,
and so, and as well, mentioning the GC battle, the top 3 has kind of solidified itself. Jonas leading overall, then a few seconds back, Tadej, and then about a minute and a half or so is Jai, who I picked, and that's the order that I picked the podium places to be in. And then about 4.5 minutes back from Jonas, and spread out over the course of a minute is the Yates brothers, Carlos Rodriguez, Pidcock. So with UAE Team Emirates having Adam Yates 4.5 minutes down on Jonas, and then with Ineos having 2 GC people in Pidcock and Rodriguez in the top 10, both 4.5 and 5.5 minutes down. Do you think those teams are going to send one of those up the road and try and put pressure on the other teams?
They really should. That's how you play, having 2 riders that high up in GC. You have to send a sacrificial lamb up the road, and 9 times out of 10 it won't come off, and it'll get pulled back. But that one time, at least you can stretch your rivals.
Yeah, exactly. And put pressure. And then we've seen that, in fantastic stages before. like Andy Schleck did up the Col de Galibier all them years ago when battling Cadell Evans. So with regards to today, do you think anything like that's going to happen? Because we saw Jai Hindley do something similar about a week ago.
Yeah.
On a similar sort of stage. So do you think Adam Yates or Pidcock, for example, are going to get in?
Simon's clearly up for it. He was attacking, of the two Yates brothers, he was the more attacking into the Plume Dom. And I think that, Pidcock, that downhill, he's done it before on the Alp stage where he just closed the gap in minutes in one descent. I think if a duo or trio of riders goes clear over the top of that final climb and it's a technical enough descent, I think, Pidcock and Yates, Simon Yates would be a good bet for putting some time in.
Nice, interesting. So who do you reckon is going to win today's stage?
It's hard to overlook Fred Wright. He's far enough back on GC that he could do it now. But I'm going to go with Pidcock. I think he's gonna. I think if it comes back together on that final climb, I think if you go for a breakaway with Fred Wright, I'm going to go for the bunch staying together. I'm going to go Pidcock on the final.
Or a very reduced bunch, and then Pidcock to go up and over the last climb and descend like a demon. Yeah. Wow, interesting. Well, it's going to be riveting racing, guys. It promises to be all-day action, and it'll be really interesting to see what the different teams do with their tactics and stuff like that. So, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks very much for joining us.